Well, let's talk art, shall we? Because the Zimbabwean film Gonarezhou has finally hit South Africa's big screens. The anti-poaching film premiered on Friday. Now, it highlights issues around animal exploitation, in particular elephants and rhinos. Gonarezhou won the Best First Feature Narrative Award at the Pan-African Film Festival in 2020. We have in studio with us this morning lead actors Tanisha Chitima as well as Charles Mzemba. Thank you so much for your time, both of you, this morning, and welcome to the show. Tanisha, let's talk a little bit about the film in itself. Gonarezhou, I was mentioning how it just already the name sounds absolutely, it's Shona, but it sounds so beautiful in being able to say it. But like, it highlights a very serious issue, and that's around poaching, human trafficking, and the like, particularly from a Zimbabwean context. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so basically Gonarezhou is actually a Shona word, like we discussed, and it actually means horn of the elephant. And there's actually a game park in Zimbabwe called Gonarezhou, where there are many elephants that are resident there. And so the director of the film, Sydney Tayavashe, wrote the script and directed the film, and he was inspired by a mass murder of elephants that happened some years ago. About 300 elephants were killed, and so it inspired him to write the script. And so the film highlights the storyline of from a perspective of the poacher and why these people get into poaching. Yeah, and it's
we never get to actually hear the side of the poaching or the poacher, sort of, to say. Charles, before I come to you, I would like us to actually take a look. We've got about a 30-second clip of the film itself, and then we'll come back and we'll continue this conversation. But have a look at what Gonarezhou is all about. Here's a 30-second premiere of it.
This was not the life I had imagined for myself. But my choices had led me there. And it seemed like it was the end of the road for me. We all have.
So already it captivates me, and already I'm kind of like, wow, what's going on? What's going to happen next? But Charles, let's talk a little bit about the significance of being able to highlight this problem, because I sometimes feel like we go through poaching fatigue, right? So we talk so much about poaching that as a society we become so fatigued and desensitized to the realities that are being faced. And the significance of this film being able to tell some of these truths from the perspective of the poacher, how different and how significant is it?
You see, this problem is that it's not only for Zimbabwe. It's a problem that is faced by so many countries. Okay, so what was trying to be highlighted there is what causes it? What makes people start poaching? Okay, if you watch it, you find out that there are so many reasons and so many, but that's not a passport for you to warrant you to start poaching because of this hardship. Okay. So, in essence, this film is trying to tell us how to preserve, to do the wildlife conservations. And I like the way it was put, and the way it was narrated by our director, Sydney. It's so captivating, and it tells people what we should do and how we should react and how should we participate in the preservation of wildlife.
Tanisha, let's talk a little bit about your character. Take us through the process of being able to play your character, and also who do you play in the film?
Okay, great. So I play a character called Tulo, and my character exposes some of the underlying effects of this underworld of poaching, where she's been trafficked. And so yeah, basically like what he's saying, there's so many complexities that come with this world. You know, it's not just black and white. It comes with drugs and like human trafficking and poverty, and there are all these issues, unemployment. There are all these issues that are a part of this world. It's not just, oh, you're evil, you're poaching. There's so many complexities to it. And so so I was actually, so my character, I'm not going to tell you what happens. I'm trying to avoid it. But my character is part of this world, and she also goes through a journey of self-discovery and has to make hard decisions, about this situation she finds herself in. But just to add to what you were saying, we're all very, very proud of this film because it was young black people who were telling the story and taking ownership of the story. A lot of times wildlife stories are told by other people from outside the
international
country.
media, Western media, and most of the time it's vilifying, and it goes back into the narratives, very simplistic. The people are evil, poachers are evil, they're here to kill, steal, destroy, but never highlight the socio-economic effects and the impact and the background or the backstory that has led somebody to actually do. I don't think anybody in their normal mind wants to wake up in one morning and poach.
Poach, no. There's something behind it.
Sure. And again, the essence of storytelling, Charles, you know, the importance that we're able to grab a hold of our own narrative, talk to our stories, share the insights of our stories, and give a kind of a lateral perspective of why this industry exists and why is it so rife. How important was it to tell it from the perspective of the black African who's in it?
Yes, you see, in this era, I'm very proud of the youth which is growing, the youth in our youth in nowadays.
Yeah.
You know, you look at Sydney. 5 years ago, just after the extinction of about 300, elephants were killed by cyanide. Okay, so it comes to his mind and says, no, I think the best way is to put it down on paper and make a film of it. Okay, so I'm just encouraging the youth nowadays that please be innovative and tell your story, your African story, and put it on screen so that people, you are like the mouthpiece of the mouthless, the voiceless. We are the voice of the voiceless. So put it on paper and put it on the screen so that people can narrate to it.
And your character, Charles, what do you play?
Yes, my character.
He's the bad guy.
I am the hypocrite.
Yeah.
Because you know, we are the bad guys, but in daylight we are the good guys.
Okay.
Don't tell them too much.
Yeah, no, he's trying so hard not to say anything. I'm the bad guy at night, but during the day I'm the good guy.
I think you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But I just encourage people to watch it. You know, I've done a couple of movies in Zimbabwe, which have got some accolades to their names. But on Gonarezhou, I tell you, it's unique.
Yeah, very unique.
In a sense that it is this uniqueness that if you watch it, it touches your spirit, I tell you. Yeah. And it will convert you from, you know, being who you were to what you should be.
But that's the beauty about being able to open up the space, the filmmaking space, the markets for these kinds of films to receive the necessary funding, to be commissioned, so that we can be seeing them at a broader perspective. Because otherwise, storytelling and being able to look at what resonates when it comes to socio-economic issues that lead to people choosing a life of crime. We hardly talk about, we talk about the effects of it, right? We talk about the person that is the criminal, but we don't talk about the abuse, the trauma, the back end side that contributed to this person becoming a bad guy. Because then it makes you think, are people all bad, or are people bad, or do they just have limited choices?
It's like, it's like they find themselves in situations where, I mean, but like what Charles was saying, we're not necessarily saying you should do bad things because you're in a bad situation. But I think it's to highlight that there are problems in our society that need addressing. There are social issues that still need addressing. People need to find work. There's, okay, I won't tell the storyline. I was about to say something that's key to the story.
A little.
No, but basically, you know, situations where, you know, there needs to be health facilities that are, you know, that are functioning, access to health, and employment, and just structures that really help the youth to succeed and have sustainable careers, so that they don't find themselves in situations where they think that's an option. Absolutely. So there are issues that need highlighting and solving before we start blaming and pointing fingers. It's a complex world where there's so many issues that need addressing.
Yeah. And when can I actually watch the film? Is it available now? Is it on our big screens? And what are we expecting from this film, Charles?
Yeah, this time our producers are trying to put it on a platform where you can watch it, but at present you can watch it from the Instagram.
Okay.
Gonarezhou.
Okay.
Yeah, but they're doing a lot
Yeah.
to bring out it on the
big screen.
Just to add to
Yeah,
that, like what you were saying about funding, like this film was made from people's passion, and it's such an important story to tell. And so now we're looking for a streaming platform, like he's saying, and we are in discussion and negotiations for that. But absolutely, keep your eyes open on our Instagram pages and watch the space, and hopefully we'll get it so that everybody can watch it on a streaming platform soon.
Listen, you already sold me with, yeah, we're telling the perspective of the poacher, right?
Poacher,
And we're talking about poaching and human trafficking, but we're telling it from the perspective of the person that is poaching. And sometimes we don't get to do that. We don't get to tell the back end story of anything. So much appreciated to the both of you. Thank you so much. All the best with the film. I can't wait to see it on Netflix very, very soon. Right?
Yes.
There we go. Speaking into
I love it.
universe, Tendai Chitima as well as Charles Mzemba, they're leading actors in Gonarezhou, the film. Hopefully we get to see it very soon.